Hey, good Tuesday evening, everyone. State Representative Brad Halbrook. Welcome to another edition of Freedom Caucus, the Illinois Freedom Caucus Tuesday night roundtable. And I am live here tonight with Leader Chairman of the Illinois Freedom Caucus, Chris Miller, and Leader Niemerg, and also Director Colin Mosley. Welcome, gentlemen. Before we get this kicked off, I just want to say tonight's live stream is brought to you by the DOE is DOA. And I knew Chairman Miller would get a kick out of that. And judicial tyranny is on the way to save the democracy. So I'm not sure what you're going to do with all that. But anyhow, welcome, gentlemen. Chris, let's go to you real quick, and then Adam for an opening hello, and then Director Mosley, you can get us right into the first slides.
Well, I'm not sure that how to follow all that dangerous rhetoric that you started off this conversation with this evening, but there's been a lot happening here in the friendly city of Springfield. The bad idea factory is in full. We got full employment. I mean, all the cylinders are hitting, and I mean, we're going full throttle, baby, all the way. And I'm not exactly sure that you can slow this train down, but we are doing our best to throw sand in the gears every day, continuing to at least attempt to make all the right people mad. And from what we heard on the floor today, I think that there may be a few that are triggered on our left side of the aisle.
I don't disagree with you there. So, yeah. And so, speaking of more sand in the gears, Representative Leader Niemerg, what's going on?
Oh, nothing much. Thanks for tuning in with us here tonight, folks, on our live stream. Yeah, a lot of crazies come out of Springfield in the last week. Another full day today here. We're just all getting settled in. Moments before we went live, we just settled into our hotel rooms here after a long day. And something we'll talk about here soon was the Right to Life March. We had a lot of great pro-lifers here in Springfield, and it was a really wonderful day.
It was a great day. Director Mosley, if you'll set up the first slide for us, and we'll get into what happened today at Springfield for the March for Life rally.
You got it.
Yeah, so excellent. So we're going to talk about the March for Life rally today that was in Springfield and the homeschool bill update from last Wednesday. And so with that, let's go to the next slide. So big rally today. Thousands of supporters showed up. We got a couple pictures here, and Leader Niemerg was on the podium, followed former state representative and gubernatorial candidate Jeannie Ives. It was a great day in the Capitol on the East Lawn in front of the Lincoln statue. And so with that, Leader Niemerg, what was your experience like being there in front of thousands of people cheering on the pro-life cause?
Oh, it was great. Thanks, Brad. It was a really, like I said, a really great day with the pro-life movement. There are some protesters there that, well, they don't agree necessarily with what we agree with on the pro-life movement, but they were disruptive just a little bit. But we had some fun with them. We said we were going to pray for them, and we will. They need to find God and find their way. But no, this was a really, really good day. Thousands of people here in Springfield, and what was really great about it was the fact that there were a lot of kids there, a lot of high school kids, middle school kids coming up there, understanding the issue, understanding that we need to stand for life here in the state of Illinois, especially in the state of Illinois, where this is where the battleground is. I talked about what Governor Pritzker has done to this state. You folks all know that. The bills he signs, the fact that he does not care for the sanctity of life here in the state of Illinois. And I also talked about the wins that we've had, the fact that Freedom Caucus members that are on here, we participated in a press conference up in Danville, and the good folks in Danville were able to stop an abortion clinic from going into Danville. I talked about the Pregnancy Resource Center bill that was deemed unconstitutional. And I also talked about the Trump Supreme Court overturning Roe v. Wade. So while we still have our work cut out for us here in the state of Illinois, and the Thomas More Society does an excellent job on the life movement here in Illinois, there have been some substantial wins. In a deep blue state where the progressives really want to make abortion on demand, the law of the land, we have been successful. So it was a really, really, really good day. Ran into a lot of great friends from the Effingham County area, Jasper County, going through the crowd, and I happened to see my little brother in the crowd. So I grabbed him, took him into the Capitol. We had the opportunity to visit. He didn't even tell me he was coming up. So it turned out to be a really good day.
Yeah, exactly. And Leader Miller, it was great. Niemerg talked about the pro-life or the event that we had in Danville just over 2 years ago at a future pro-life, or I'm sorry, a future abortion clinic. And, Chris, you were there. A handful of us were there, 60, 70 people from the city of Danville. And here, just over 2 years later, that clinic has not opened yet. So I think that was hopefully it continues to be the case. And that was a good win for the unborn.
Yeah, I think it's important to continue to keep hope alive. I know a lot of times there's people get frustrated and they just want to throw in the towel and give up. But what happened in Danville is a prime example of why we can't give up and why we need to continue to fight every day. And if you fight, there's always a possibility of having a victory. But if you don't fight, I guarantee you that you're going to lose every time. So we continue to fight this battle. We continue to do what's right, continue to be happy warriors, because in the end, Jesus is King of Kings and Lord of Lords. And, like the old songwriter said, the songs wrongs will be ended when Jesus is King. And so we serve him, and so we continue to battle on a daily basis.
Yeah, exactly. Director Mosley, is there anything else that we need to add about the events of today or anything leading up to today in and around this March for Life rally?
Well, we've said it before, we'll say it again. The Democrats aren't pro-choice. They're pro-death. That's just the reality. They mask this as a pro-choice movement, but they're not. They are pro-abortion because you can't be constantly trying to promote these policies. You can't be trying to make it where kids can hide these things from their families. You can't make it where it's fully taxpayer funded and a hotline and be pro-choice. No, and so it's more important than ever. I think I told the guys earlier that it's a weird perspective. My wife and I had our 8-week ultrasound this morning on my way to Springfield, and then to have the pro-life march and to see people across the street that would believe that our daughter in my wife's womb isn't a human baby. It's just disgusting. And so, like Miller said, the fight is worth it, and you have to stay mission focused, and we're not giving up here in Illinois.
Is that your way, Colin, of informing the viewers at home that you're expecting again?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, there you go. Breaking news.
Breaking news right here.
We had the reveal live and in color.
And guess what? I can already tell you it's a biological woman.
That's shocking news. You would know that already.
And that can't change 16 years from now or anything.
Yeah, exactly. All right, gentlemen, anything else we need to add? Any other observations from today before we move into our next slide?
Brad, I'd like to add one thing. I'd like to thank the Illinois Right to Life for the opportunity to allow me to speak there today and for us to take the podium and the stage. I also like to thank my Bishop Paprocki, the Springfield Diocese, my personal bishop. He did an outstanding job on stage today. What his words of wisdom, his prayers were just outstanding. So, folks, you can be proud of Bishop Paprocki today.
Yeah, that's a great point. And Adam, I guess I'm just going to make an appeal here. If we can announce the future birth of babies amongst our team here, I think we need to make a request or appeal of our pastors throughout Central and East Central Illinois. We've got about 40 days of the spring session left, and we always open with an opening prayer, but we've just had a lack of pastors for one reason or the other that's made the trip to Springfield. So if you're a pastor or you would like your pastor to open up the General Assembly session at noon, give us a call and let us know, and we'll make the connections to make that happen. We really, it's important to have pastors do that opening prayer at high noon every day. And so we'll just make that appeal to reach out and see if we can get some pastors coming back to Springfield. It's not been the same since the virus hit, and we'd like to get them coming back to Springfield.
Changes the whole tone of the day when there's a God-loving in the name of Jesus prayer before session.
Well, this is a unique opportunity that very few people get to do, and somebody's going to open that up with a prayer, whether it's a Christian pastor or somebody else. And so I don't know that I can make the point strong enough to invite our pastors to give us a call and get scheduled to come up there. With that, the Democrats are all about choice until they're not about choice. And this is one that they're saying, well, we have a choice, but you got to give us all your information. So this was quite a lengthy, heated discussion last Wednesday morning. Again, thousands of homeschoolers, home educators, private school folks, families showed up. And we saw, what was it, a 2.5 hour debate on this bill last Wednesday morning. The Capitol was full of great home education families, and it was, of course, the bill passed out of committee. I'm just going to throw it open. Chris, if you want to kind of speak to it, we'll go to Adam and then kind of close it out.
Well, I know this is just a reminder. I know you've heard me say it a thousand times, but it just with dealing with the Democrats and the educational industrial complex, and the fight for freedom never ends. And it's just is so frustrating that it seems like every year that one of the radical lefties trot out a bill to attack home educators and attack those that are in private education in some measure. And in this case, we do live in a constitutional representative republic. We do not live in a democracy, but the Dems, all they want to talk about is democracy. Well, in democracy, you are ruled by, if you have one more vote and they want to go lynch you, they can do it. But in this case, we have a process that we can appeal to our legislators, because we the people still have a voice, and we the people turned in 48,451 witness slips that were opposed to this bill, and the proponents of this amounted to someplace in the neighborhood of 700 to 750 witness slips. So in other words, there was 98.5% of the people that were opposed to this bill, and only 1.5% of the people that took time to file a witness slip were for this bill. Mm-hmm. Now, wouldn't you think that the Democrats would have heard the voice of the people loud and clear between the witness slips and the people that actually showed up to the Capitol? But these people just seem to be pawns of Satan, and all they want to do is to kill, to steal, and to destroy. Mm-hmm. And we know that Jesus said that he's come to give us life and life more abundantly. And granted, the people that they're attacking are the same people that brought cherry pies to their office just a few weeks ago and asked them not for anything other than just please leave us alone. And it's so frustrating that people have to take time out of their day to drive to Springfield and to go through all this process, and then have the Democrats thumb their nose at we the people, when we the people have clearly spoken.
Right, exactly. Yeah, Adam, it was a remarkable day. Big news, national news. It was a national news week all last week. Fox News was there in the rotunda, lots of activity, and yet the Democrats send this bill out 8-4 to 1. Actually, one Democrat voted present, I believe, is what happened. What was your thoughts on the whole day, Adam?
Well, I sit on the education committee, and we heard that particular bill, and it was a marathon session on that committee. We went, again, Brad, for, like you said, 2.5 hours debating that piece of legislation. And the bill sponsor kept pushing the fact that it's just a form. It's just a form. No, it's not just a form. It gives the Regional Office of Education authority to come to folks' homes and to check out their education portfolio to make sure it complies with certain state standards pushed down by Illinois State Board of Education. I got Illinois State Board of Education on the record with those standards, also with what authority the ROEs have, that they may come down into your homes and ask for your education portfolio. So at the end of the day, it's a situation where we need to hold our ROEs, Regional Office of Education, accountable. We have great ones in our districts throughout Brad, Chris, and myself that understand the importance of homeschooling and parental rights. So that's something we need to be watching for. Secondly, when it comes to violations of religious freedom, they included private and parochial schools. on getting this information to the ROEs. The ISB, Illinois State Board of Education, should have access. It seemed a little cloudy, which means they probably do have access to get this information to attain these records, which is a violation of religious freedom when it comes to private and parochial schools. So the bill sponsor kept saying it was a case-by-case basis on this particular issue, which is ironic because, like what I stated previously on the Pregnancy Resource Center bill, this was the same bill sponsor. So that bill was deemed unconstitutional. If this bill does get through the House and the Senate, I firmly believe that it'll be challenged in court and it will be deemed unconstitutional on those grounds as well. But I'm hearing chatter from the Senate that this may not move in the Senate, even if it does get through the House. But again, that's all just chatter. We just have to see which way it goes.
Yeah, exactly. And this is kind of an interesting situation. All the reasons why that they said we needed to do this bill, the public school system has a very poor record on all of those things, whether it's truancy, the assault stuff, whatever it is. They have a really, really bad record, and their proficiency numbers are continuing to tank as we spend over $10 billion the last year or two and expected to spend another additional $500 million on public education this coming fiscal year, and their record continues to go in the toilet.
It's pretty disgusting in that hearing that Adam and Blaine sat through on the committee. You heard the bill sponsor. They cherry picked 2 or 3 bad actor stories, as you could find in any discipline or on any issue. And they took those and basically said that those 48,000 people don't care about the health and safety of children. I mean, the sponsor literally said, I know you don't care about these people, but I do. And it's just disgusting to sit there in front of children and their parents and accuse them of not caring about, yes, there have been bad actors, but guess what? There's no discipline immune to that. But to take that and label the entire homeschool family organization in the same way is just totally wrong. And I felt totally like it was way out of line for her to accuse those families there just fighting for the rights to educate their children at home and be left alone by their government.
Right.
Colin, you're absolutely right on that. And that's whenever I pointed out that the families, the parents, the mothers who were in that committee room, plus the thousands that were in the Capitol, plus the 50,000 that filed witness slips, I said it was a disservice to each and every one of those people to imply that we don't care about children. It's quite to the contrary. The folks that push these radical bills and the radical mandates that are coming down in our public education system, they don't realize that they are the biggest proponents of school choice because they are pushing families that don't want to have anything to do with this woke ideology to, 1, do homeschooling, or 2, go to private or parochial schools. So when it comes to the detriment of good teachers in the public education system, they're leaving as well. They don't want to see this stuff taught in schools. So you keep pushing the radical agenda, you keep pushing these mandates, and you wonder why, especially post-COVID, why homeschooling numbers are the highest they've ever been. Whenever you push bills like SB 818, the egregious sex ed bill that teaches kids at kindergarten, they don't know the difference between a boy or a girl, and 3rd graders to have gender hormone treatment, you wonder why parents are opting out of the public education system.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And there's no talking sense to the majority party on any of these things. All these policies that they continue to pass and to mandate upon all of us drives people out of the state. It drives people out of public education. They're going to choose to do something else. They're not going to put up with this stuff. And the Democrats can't seem to understand that it's the policies that they pass in Springfield. The very policies that they pass makes it more difficult. And let me just remind everybody, and I'm not going to acknowledge the sponsor's name here on this evening, but, she's the same woman that 10 months ago on the House floor, when I asked her to define opposite sex, she said, well, she would get back to me on that. She will get me that definition. And 10 months later, we still don't have the definition of what opposite sex means as far as she's concerned. So
thank God President Trump's cleared that up for her.
Maybe we need to send her that videotape. So anyhow, yeah. Any closing thoughts here? I don't know anything. If we left any stone unturned here, gentlemen.
No, I just want to say thank you for tuning in as usual, and please like and share our Facebook page, and please like and share our personal Facebook pages and Twitters as well. Thank you.
Yeah, exactly. Colin, you got the contact info up there. Tell us about the Substack. How's that going, and what should we expect?
The Substack's just where you can keep up to date with us, our newsletter, and what's going on. did an excellent one last week on the Deerfield issue, trying to keep you up to date on what's going on the House floor in Springfield and across Illinois. So it's an easy to read, quick rundown of the conservative take on Illinois politics.
Exactly. Leader Miller, any closing thoughts as we wrap up this evening?
Well, I just, a lot of times at the end of our conversation here on Tuesday evening, I feel like that we put you on bad information overload, but I think it's also important to know that you have freedom fighters here in the state capitol in the Illinois Freedom Caucus, and regardless of the pressure that they try to exert on us and oppose their will, just know that we will never sit down, that we will never shut up, that we will never comply, and we will never give in to the radical left woke ideology that we would rather die than surrender. And just be comforted to know that you have people that are willing to have that kind of resolve to not give in to these people in any way, shape, or form. We'll continue to fight every battle, and we will fight till we win, or we will fight till we die.
Yeah, exactly. Adam, it feels like sometimes we're like Nehemiah. We're up trying to repair the wall, and Tobias and Santa, I can't even get his name right. But anyhow, there you go. And I knew Chris would come through with the biblical history that we needed. They come along, right? And they say, hey, look, you guys got to come down. You got to quit building that wall. And Adam, I know you're not going to back off. And
no, I'm that kid that keeps rebuilding that sandcastle after the wave knocks it out. So don't worry about it.
Well, they had their sword strapped on when they went to work on the wall, and one hand on their sword and one hand doing the work of rebuilding the wall.
Well, and I think that's where we're at every day, right? We've got our construction tools in one hand and got the sword in the other hand, and the naysayers are coming by trying to talk us down, and that's just not going to happen. So with that, Director Mosley, is there anything else we need to talk about before we close out for the evening? Excellent. Guys, thanks for tuning in. As like Adam said, like, share, follow, subscribe to our content. It helps us overcome the algorithmic gods of the big tech overlords. And with that, have a good evening, and we'll talk to you real soon.